Hey everyone, it's the Yankee in Siberia telling you the truth about life in Russia. And today I am back here in Siberia and I am joined by the one and only, the beautiful, my love, Anastasia.
Hello everybody, how are you?
And today Anastasia is going to tell us all about her time that she spent in America.
Yep, that's true.
So why did you decide that you wanted to go to America?
First of all, I want to say that spending the time there in America, it was really amazing time. I had the dream from my childhood, probably when I was a teenager, that I want to study in America. I want to try that system of education because the education system is completely different.
Right.
And I need to try that experience for myself. And I decided to go there. I was living in California, the city of Los Angeles, and that was like a really great experience of that.
What was your first impression about American culture?
In general, I would say that American culture, as any other culture, has pluses and minuses. The main thing that I noticed about Americans, when you just walk on the street, you see the big smile on the face, and all the time the Americans, they say, "Hey, how are you?" And in the beginning I was a bit confused about that. I was thinking, should I reply for that question or what should I do? And later on, I get used to that. I realize that it's just a nice and great thing of greeting. That's why for the first time when I met Nathan, usually the Americans, they have the big smile. I noticed that Nathan doesn't have, and I was thinking he might be Russian. That is so funny. So the conclusion is the American culture is, it's a great culture, and maybe it doesn't differ from any other culture compared to Russian, for instance.
Okay. What did you like best about America?
The best thing that I really loved in America, okay, first of all, that's the education for sure. The second thing that I really loved in America, that's the traveling. I was traveling from California to New York by car. It was like the most remarkable trip ever. It was super great. I was traveling there with my dad. He came to me for vacation and we spent such a great time there. The city that I loved the most, that's was on the state in New Mexico. The city is Albuquerque. I could say that the people there are super kind and the nature also amazing. That is for sure. And the other beautiful place that I loved about traveling, that was in Grand Canyon. Me and my dad, we were there 2 times, and both times the weather was super foggy. So we couldn't enjoy the view. I also enjoyed the Niagara Falls.
I grew up around that area.
Yes, and I can say that there's something like extremely amazing things. It's just the water through the lights. That's pretty much about that. Since I really love Rihanna as a singer, I was in her concert, Rihanna and Eminem, and the concerts in America, they're super like, they have a lot of lights, the fireworks, it's just decorations and lights. That's really beautiful.
So she was in America for 2 years, went from one coast to the other coast, and she actually saw more of the country than I did the whole time I lived there.
So. That's the truth. Yep.
Did you experience any culture shock when you were in America?
No, I can't say that. I think my opinion about the American culture is still the same. As I said before, the culture has pluses and minuses, so I can say that I was completely shocked by something.
Okay. What about when you came back to Russia after 2 years in America? Did you have any reverse culture shock?
When I came back to Russia, I could say that, I mean, in Russia, people, they are so serious and strict. Not like in America, you can see people with sometimes, I mean, most of the time I have the big smile, and sometimes people just look at me like, are you from here? Something like that. But I didn't have a reverse culture shock. Because I grew up in Russia, and I know how people serious. It's just some people are really serious, some people aren't. So
After America, coming back to Russia, you were just able to go back to your normal life?
yes, I came back to my normal life, and I'm still happy.
When you were in America, was there anything you really missed most about Russia besides your family?
The most important thing I missed, that was food. Because in America, I mean, the food in America, it's amazing. The French fries, the curly French fries. My favorite fast food restaurant, In-N-Out. This is the best place for burgers.
Yeah, that's a lot of times this is my exact answer when people ask me if I miss anything so much about America besides my family. My answer is always the food.
The food is, I think, because everybody love eating, and I think the food is the part of our life. And in America also, I really enjoy the food. There is a lot of stuff, a lot of delicious food, especially like the fast food. I miss the most the soup, because when I realized that most of the time people actually eat the soup from the cans,
Yeah.
the soup is completely different in America, and I was missing that the most. And for sure I was missing my mom's and my grandma food. For sure, they are amazing cooks.
From experience with Russian soups and her mom's cooking and her grandma's cooking, I can completely understand.
Yep.
So, being back in Russia, is there anything that you miss about America?
The ranch sauce.
Ranch. Mm-hmm.
That's super delicious. For
Right.
sure.
Yeah, unfortunately here in Russia, I've been looking everywhere, even in Moscow. I cannot find any ranch dressing or blue cheese dressing.
We're still on searching.
Always on the lookout. Anything else you'd like to add about your time in America?
The most surprising thing for me in Russia, I had trouble with my driving license, and I got my first driving license from US. I was super happy about that, because in Russia I tried to pass the driving test 5 or 4 times. I even don't remember now, and I could say the driving system with the exams and the tests, it's completely different. For instance, in Russia, you need to spend 2 or 3 months learning the theory skills for the driving, and then you have maybe a month actually learning how to drive a car, like a practice skills. And also in Russia, when you pass first you pass the theory test. If you pass that, so you go to the next step. And then you need to prove that you are a really good driver, so you go to the city and you drive a car to show your driving skills. Also, so in the car there is 3 people. There's 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
You as a driver, The second one is your teacher. And the third, who actually gives the exam, is the police. And when you feel, when you see that the police inside the car, you have the fear that you're gonna fail your test. You can't relax, and you're just so super nervous. And when the police ask you, like, okay, find the place to park the car, and you're like, oh my god, can I go to the left, or maybe can I go to the right? You're just completely nervous. So maybe because of that I couldn't pass the test. And also I could add the second reason why I couldn't pass the test, maybe because most of the driving schools, they just want money from you. So that's really bad about that. That's really sad about that. Maybe that's why we have a lot of accidents, because people they don't feel confident while they're driving, and they don't have enough practice, theory skills. But in America, I want to mention that again, I was extremely happy when the DMV person, he told me that I passed. I was like, really? Are you kidding me? I was extremely happy. I was the happiest person in that time. And when I realized that I did pass the test, the driving test, I was so proud of myself. And my friends, they were waiting for me outside, and when I came to them, I wanted to pretend like, because I know how many times I failed with that, and I wanted to pretend like, oh, I'm gonna say like, I didn't pass. And I couldn't hold the smile. It's like I even couldn't pretend. So I say I passed. Everybody was happy about that. So in America, it's like actually like the driving, the signals, the traffic, all includes that system. The interesting thing that I like in California, that you could turn to the right on a red signal to make sure that there is no car. This is really great. So you don't need to wait until the traffic light is gonna be green. You just go on a red signal, but to make sure that everything is safe and nobody's going to your way. That's really amazing thing. I took a test in English. This is also the thing that I should be proud of.
So, being here in Russia, I heard that to even be able to get a driver's license, you have to talk to a psychiatrist?
Yes, includes that doctor, and also you need to check your vision.
The vision we have to check in America, but when I heard about you have to get permission from a psychiatrist for a driver's license, I thought that sounds crazy myself.
They want just to make sure that you don't have that actually you are capable of driving, that you don't have any mental disease.
So to you, how are Russian drivers compared to American drivers? As Russians kind of have this it's a stereotype that Russian drivers are crazy, and that's why everybody has all these dash cams.
That's really a stereotype, because everything depends on the driver. If the driver is really crazy, he's gonna be crazy on the road and gonna hit other cars. But if the driver is normal, he drives good, everything is fine. But this is really the stereotype about that. Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So you'd say that drivers would pretty much be the same in Russia and America. You got your crazy drivers, you got your good drivers.
Yes, I agree on that, and this is the completely truth about that. At that point, it works like that. Yes, it depends on you.
And as a foreigner here, I would say, to a point I do agree with her, of course, but I think they tend to be a little more aggressive here.
Did you remember how I teach you to drive standard?
Yeah, that she tried to teach me how to drive a standard. I've never driven a standard in my life before, so it did not work out. I was scared the entire time.
No, I can't. That was super funny. At that time we should record the video and put it here to see your reaction, guys.
Yeah, maybe sometime if I can convince her to try to teach me again, we'll actually make a video of her trying to teach me.
We're going to try that for sure.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you to the beautiful Anastasia again for giving us her impressions about America.
Thank you so much, Nathan, for inviting me here.
And just so everybody knows, Anastasia also has her own channel. It's called Pomeranian Expert. Link will be down in the description, and there'll be a card, info card somewhere on that side or on that side.
Your Pomeranian expert, Anastasia.
And so if you love Pomeranians and want to know more about them, or just want to see videos with Pomeranians, make sure to check out her channel and subscribe.
I have a lot of videos, a lot of interesting videos about the Pomeranian life. So you should check that for sure.
And a little later, Anastasia and I are going to be doing a live Q&A video answering your questions about life in Russia, what it's like dating a Russian girl as an American, what it's like dating an American as a Russian, and any other questions that you might have for us. So if you have any questions for us, let me know in the comments down below.
Don't forget to like this video if you really like that. And do not forget to subscribe to this channel to see more amazing and interesting stories about Yankee in Siberia.
And about any videos about life in Siberia too. So until next time, peace out, Mother Russia.
We didn't.